So while the world is caught up in Donald Trump's global trade war, there is much more that is happening in the United States under the current administration's goal to implement the sweeping reforms and also a structural overhaul. So let's take a quick look as to what is making headlines in America under Trump's presidency. So it's been a decisive day in the US Senate, where Speaker Mike Johnson is facing a bit of a litmus test as he's seeking a vote on the budget resolution. Now, this is expected to be a narrow vote, as some Republican lawmakers are not in favor of the spending cuts in the budget. Now, passing this legislation through both chambers of the Congress is going to be mandatory in order to kickstart the process to draft the massive budget bill. A major legal relief for Donald Trump in one of the many lawsuits the White House faces. The U.S. Supreme Court has blocked a lower court's order that requires the administration to reinstate thousands of federal probationary workers who had been fired after Trump assumed presidency. The top court, with a majority of the Republican-leaning judges, has now said the petitioners lack legal standing. But the ruling is not a definitive one, and the case will, of course, continue to be heard in the lower courts. Now, the acting commissioner of the Internal Revenue Services, Melanie Cross, will, of course, be resigning from the agency. Her decision comes just days after an agreement was, in fact, finalized for the IRS to hand over the sensitive taxpayer information to the Department of Homeland Security. The data is to help the Trump administration find and to deport the undocumented immigrants. Now, Cross is, in fact, the third IRS chief to resign since Trump assumed office in January this year. Now, the administration is also reportedly planning to freeze funds of 2 more colleges in connection with the pro-Palestine and anti-war protests that have swept through the American university campuses. Now, according to a White House official, the administration plans to freeze $790 million in funding for the Northwestern University and about $1 billion of funding for Cornell University. Officials have already done this to other colleges such as Brown University, Columbia, Harvard, and Princeton. And reports say that the funding freeze is also targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in these universities. Now, before the trade war, it was Trump's territorial ambitions that had made headlines. And Panama is on the president's radar. Now, the American Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is on a visit to Panama. He's warned that the United States will not allow China to jeopardize operations of the crucial Panama Canal. Now, Hegseth said that the Panama Canal faces ongoing threats from China. But the United States and Panama together would, of course, take back the canal and keep it open for all nations. This is what the Americans claim.